not even like secondary cities or not even like, the local communities can benefit from this big proportion of tourists coming to Thailand. So that's why it's very important in terms of like the research that Kunmai has been done. And one of the keywords that I hear, and it's very true to the hearts of people who have been involving in tourism, is that usually the local people, local communities, we face a lot of challenges in local community as well when they receive tourists coming to the local communities. Be the, like carrying capacity, the safety, the experience design, the accommodation, and the list goes on. But one of the things that I hear from the research is that actually in tourism industry, we don't judge people by nationalities, but we care more about the shared values, because tourism is the platform that people from different culture can come together and exchange and have the interaction to get to know each other and understand each other more and more. That can bring more than just economic benefit, right? So I think that's one of the key message that you can deliver from this research, and that can apply in broader market as well, not only for Chinese market, but like other markets that the local community might feel like they are not ready to receive. And for now, like after the COVID, even though Chinese market is not the largest market anymore, but we see the potential that the younger generation of Chinese people coming to Thailand gain more interest in local experience, like community interaction, this kind of thing. So we see not only the quantity of tourists anymore, but we want to aim for quality of tourists coming to the local community. And I think that's one of the things that we can use from this research, to bridge the gap between the supply and demand of tourism, and especially for the local communities, how we can cater, how we can build the capacity of the local community to serve more higher quality and value-based market, not only for Chinese market, but for other nationality as well. And I think that is one of the things that local like can use from this research. And I think one of the things that we can learn more when we work together. I think this is not the one-time research project that we receive and work together with Kun Mai, but I think our relationship in terms of like, sharing the knowledge and working with the local community will goes on. And of course, we will try to connect more with the higher quality, younger generation Chinese market to bring them to experience the local Thai experience in the local community. Thank you.
Thank you, Kun Banipa. Now I would like to invite Dr. Pirada from the Thai Human Rights Commission to give the comments, please.
So thank you very much for inviting the Office of the National Human Rights Commission to take part today. I would like to congratulate for the success of the project, and this study has strengths in various dimensions. So firstly, the research addressed an understudy issue in Thai policy discourse, which is housing insecurity and life experience of small-scale fishery, by selecting Yaimom village in Trat province as the site of the study. Regarding the method, I think the researchers wisely select unconventional methods by using participatory video, which is a powerful method to visualize the finding, demonstrate both substance, voice, and feeling of the communities in their own words. And also the video method is applied as an advocacy tool for the community as well. So this helps to empower community members as a knowledge co-creator as well. For the finding, I think they are clear and answer the research questions in which the study identified three aspects. So the first aspect you mentioned about the legal and administrative conflicts. And the second aspect is the customary land and housing insecurity. And the last aspect that you try to highlight the inequality that affecting from the customary and housing rights. Also, the recommendations are realistic, and this align with the broader sustainable development objective. For example, you mentioned about the participatory and empowering approach. This study could be improved by considering to outline and analysis framework. I believe that the key focus of this study is the customary rights to land and resources. Then an analysis framework might be scoped by, for example, using the International Covenant on Economics and Social Rights as an analysis framework, and focusing on the right to land that you already mentioned in your study, right to housing, right to adequate standard of living, a right to education. So this will guide and interpretations of data and link to the findings. In terms of inequality analysis, so if other dimensions such as gender dimensions are more elaborated, this would support a strong finding. And you have highlighted some issue. For example, like you mentioned in your report about the women in Yaimom. Yaimom disproportionately suffer from housing insecurity and all intersectionality issues. So which relate to disability, age, and religious that impact on people's life. This would provide an understanding of diverse life experience. I understand that the study would like to illustrate the experience and perspective of the communities toward the customary rights. However, the perspective from a government agency, such as the Marine Department or the Department of Marine and Coastal Resources or local authorities that would support more robust understanding of the issue. Lastly, to maximize and impact of this study, translations to the study into Thai language and disseminate this to the related agency would be helpful. This study can support a policy dialogue. Before ending, I just would like to update a positive development in solving the rights of the coastal community. So the National Human Rights Commission held a meetings last week to follow up the Commission's recommendation regarding the customary rights of the coastal community. So the Marine Department has agreed in principle to exempt the enroachment fee and is currently drafting a ministerial regulation in which the NHRCT will closely monitor. To this end, like, well done for your hard work. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Pirda, and thank you for bringing the positive and great news. That's a lot of hope for the community. Because we started very late, but we kind of, if there's any urgent question from the audience, would like to ask the speakers and the two commenters. I'll count three. If see there's any question. Okay, seems like no, but they're still here. If you have any questions, feel free to find them and talk about more about their stories and their work. So thank you so much for all the speakers of this session. Kakumaka, the session 3 is... Okay, we have one question. Great.
เป็นไม่ได้เป็นคำถามค่ะคือจากหัวใจค่ะ ชาวบ้านชุมชนใจม่อมค่ะลำพึงทิสาค่ะเป็นแม่ของอัสมาแล้วก็ดีใจค่ะที่มีนักศึกษาได้มาวิจัยทำการวิจัยสารคดีเรื่องบ้านริมน้ำเรื่องชุมชนดั้งเดิมของเราค่ะ พวกเราชาวชุมชนบ้านยะม่อมขอขอบคุณทุกภาคส่วนที่ได้ให้การช่วยแก้ไขปัญหาของชุมชนด้วยความเข้าใจและเคารพในวิถีชีวิตของชาวบ้านอย่างแท้จริงพวกเราชาวบ้านก็ยินดีให้ข้อมูลด้วยความเป็นจริงทุกอย่างเพื่อลูกหลานของเราในอนาคตได้มีที่อยู่อาศัยโดยไม่ต้องเสียค่าลุกล้ำลำน้ำอีกต่อไปและจะได้กระตือรือร้นช่วยแก้ปัญหาของชุมชนด้วยพวกเราเองด้วยค่ะแล้วก็ขอขอบคุณอีกครั้งที่นักศึกษาหรือเสี่ยวฟางกับคนที่ช่วยแปลภาษาด้วยค่ะที่มีส่วนร่วมให้พื้นที่ที่ถูกละเลยนั้นได้กลับมีชีวิตอีกครั้งค่ะขอขอบคุณมากค่ะ
I'll provide a brief translation, I guess, for that. So this is Asma Mom talking for the villagers. They're thankful that this issue is of interest to researcher on this topic and thank for paying attention. And they also would like to thank all the stakeholders for their interest in this issue and also for trying to find out solutions that is respectful to community lives and their values. And all of this is done in terms of preserving the village and the agency for the future generations to have rights to live on the land without being extorted and become more eager, like inspire them to be more eager in addressing issues within their communities. Lastly, they would like to thank the researcher, Xiao Fang, and also the translator who worked with her on, again, addressing the issues of the community. Thank you.
Okay, thank you again for all the speakers of this session, and I will hand over to Professor Cao for the final session. Thank you.
Could I invite the speakers for the final panel to join the front, please? I think Kun Kasarin, Kun Sun. Kun Rapidi? Okay, excellent. Okay, so now we turn to the final panel of the public seminar today. So over the last 3 panels, we've heard a range of interconnected issues on the overarching theme of green transformation. We've seen presentations, we have policy briefs in our hands, a photograph exhibition outside. We've also seen the video that was also just presented. So in this panel, we would like to try and find some connections across the issues. So we have six speakers who will join the panel. Several have already been introduced. The first is Kunsarani, has already been introduced. The second is online, Tianji Ma, who is a freelance writer and environmental consultant. He's the author of In Search of Green China that was published this year on Polity Press, and he has been an advisor to this program. Then we have Kun Kasarin Pibun, who is a program coordinator with the Sustainable Agriculture Foundation Thailand. She has worked very closely with us over the duration of the fellowships, especially with Xiao Mong working in Chiang Mai. And then we have Kunravadi Prasert Charan Suk, who is the founder and director of the Sustainable Development Foundation, which we've just heard the presentation on now. Then we have Kun Kittipon Pummisuttikun, who is a project officer with Towards Organic Asia, also has worked very closely with us over the duration of the fellowship program. And then Kun Wanvipa, who was just on the previous session. So the purpose of this panel, as I said, is to try and find connections across the themes that we have. So let me begin with the first question to share with the panel. This seminar has heard on a range of topics regarding Thailand's green transformation. How do you see these topics as interconnected, and what are the challenges and opportunities within these interconnections? So let's begin with Kunsarani.
Thank you, Ajahn Kham. So first, I'd like to congratulate the program on the successful completion and these outputs, which I hope they're all very interesting, and I hope it's just the beginning of a long conversation that we need to have. So just speaking from the perspective of my earlier company, South Forest, and the subsidiary CFNT. So we believe that any genuine green transformation in Thailand needs to be just. Otherwise, it would not be really green. Otherwise, it would be at the risk of greenwashing. There's also a risk that without any attention being paid to the social justice and inclusiveness, any green policy is not just at risk of being, a fake green, but also exacerbating inequality in Thailand. Because just to give a very short example, right now Thailand is undergoing the energy transition program, as with many countries, because energy accounts for over 2/3 of the greenhouse gas emissions. And so it's unavoidable for the government and all the government agencies to talk the language of energy transition. But we are concerned that so far what they talk about is still without the regard to the justice component. So what this means is that Thailand could be first falling into the fossil fuel trap for many years to come, under the guise of gas as a transition fuel. And any transition to clean power, I think for renewables is at risk of being trapped into the same handful of big companies, instead of utilizing the vast decentralization potential of renewable energy that should be the kind of energy that's in the hands of the people. Also, certain kinds of clean energy, for example, the huge dams in the Mekong. And I think I would like to say, because actually what attracts me to this program is the name of the program. So I should say something about the Mekong. So a few large dams in the Mekong, both already being built, and the upcoming dams are still, we believe, presenting very high environmental and social risk. And those dams are being presented as clean power Thailand, which we think we need to strongly counter and explain that it's not clean. No energy can be clean just with the regard to just looking at the carbon profile or the greenhouse gas emission profile is clearly not enough. So I think we are living in the age where, from where I see the standpoint of even these green standards, also taxonomy, no matter where you start, whether you start from the green standards or you start from the social standards, they will all be coming together in a sense. So if you start from the green side of the equation, in order to be trustworthy and I think to be credible in the long run to investors, you need to pay attention to the social and environmental safeguards and protection. If you start from the social dimension, there's also this imperative to transition due to the climate change commitments and severe impacts of climate change that demands that we adapt to climate change. And so I think no matter whether you start from, any part of the environment or the social or the governance angle, eventually I believe we will come to see or require very similar kinds of safeguards. So that's kind of my positive note. And so because I think all of us are here in this room working either at any of those issues, that means there's a huge possibility to come together and work together. So I think that local CSOs in Thailand also can play a huge role in making companies accountable and making these standards accountable by basically presenting the actual cases of whether those so-called green or socially responsible companies are being responsible in practice.
Thank you so much. I mean, for us also, CSDS, the just word in the title of the program is very important, because many green transformations can get trapped into kind of just turning things into technical issues rather than recognizing the social justice dimension of transformation. Let's go online to Tianji. Tianji, are you there?
Yes. Can you hear me?
We can.
Thank you, Carl, for involving me in this panel, this great panel. And I also want to echo Kun Sarini in saying congratulations to all the participants, including fellows, partner organizations, and CSDS for completing this wonderful fellowship program and producing so much like knowledge products. And I also want to begin by acknowledging how unique, right, this kind of fellowship currently is, right, in our current environment. I mean, in this region, I think there are currently still a lot of fellowship programs that are facing the West, right, sending our best young people to the West, where people perceive that the real knowledge and expertise are, right. But I think having heard all our like research presentations by our fellows, you can realize like just how deep, right, and rich the local knowledges are, the expertise are on the ground, right, in this region, where I think there's insufficient exchange, right, between different countries, between different communities, between different cultures. So I think, especially after the pandemic, when like people-to-people connections are like disrupted severely, I think rebuilding this kind of regional connection is so important, right, for the future of this region, that for all the environment that we all share together. So Carl asked that the question is about interconnectedness, right, in the topics that we addressed today. So I think my takeaway or my take on the interconnectedness is actually about the regional connection, right? Because it is actually quite explicit in, I think, two of the topics, right? The two fellows that touched upon. One is Chinese investment into the EV sector in Thailand. The other is tourism, right? So these are the already very strong existing connections, right, between countries in this region. But I also want to highlight that even though, for example, Xiaofang, Yuting, and Xiaomeng's studies doesn't include a very explicit like regional component, but the regional connection is still there, right? Because in the morning, I think Jingmei introduced on Chinese policies, right, on clean energy and EV and things like that. But I think what we should also be aware of is that beyond those kind of hard infrastructure like investment and like commercial connections such as tourism, there are also like increasingly the kind of soft power connections, right, that are trying to be built, right, between, especially on the China side, right, trying to, for example, provide more foreign aid, right, to the region, right, or making more like people-to-people connections, right, with neighbors in this region. And all of those, I think, will have some implications to the areas that some of our fellows studied. To use foreign aid as example, nowadays Chinese foreign aid emphasizes more and more about South-South cooperation, right? This means that China, seeing itself as a developing country, want to also help other developing countries to achieve so-called green transformation, right? Which is the topic of our discussion today. But I think in this process, I think there are knowledge gaps, right? And also there are capacity gaps, right, to be addressed. I think Xiaomeng's example of the early warning system built by the Thai, like the central administration in Thailand, is quite useful because in the minds of, for example, policymakers in China that are trying to design South-South cooperation projects, right, with Southeast Asia, climate adaptation is very high on the agenda, right? And many of them are thinking about, okay, should we donate some money to countries like Indonesia or Thailand for them to build an early warning system, right, for climate emergencies? But if the whole system is conceived and designed from a top-down approach, like I think what they did in Thailand with those fancy early warning system that is underutilized, right, by the communities on the ground because of all the barriers, right, technology barriers and cultural barriers there, then those kind of foreign aid money will be wasted, right, and not actually contributing to the actual adaptive capacity on the ground, right. So I think in this regard, I think having knowledge, right, already embedded, right, by our fellows and in CSDS, right, in the repository of knowledge, right, that we are now building up gradually at CSDS, is going to be very useful, right, because you are basically future facing. You are anticipating that when more and more this kind of so-called South-South cooperation are happening, local knowledge, right, local expertise are being reflected, right. Another area, of course, is agriculture aid, for example. If you look at, for example, China's foreign aid in Africa these days, a large portion of that foreign aid is about agriculture. But those, again, is very top down and also commercial based, right? So, for example, a lot of the big Chinese seed companies, right, are heavily involved in Chinese foreign aid in Africa because they are using aid as a vehicle to also promote, for example, hybrid rice seed, right, that developed by Chinese companies. So I think, again, having an understanding of local knowledge, right, on the ground, also local concerns about sea sovereignty, right, in Thailand would, I think, anticipate and also, I think, preempt, right, some of the problematic practices that is likely to happen, right, if there's not enough dialogue and conversation, right, about local concerns, local knowledge, and local understanding of the situation. So I think the interconnection I see here is like we are actually building a knowledge base, capacity base for the future, right? The future where I think more and more regional connections in terms of finance, in terms of foreign aid, right, in terms of like political collaborations are set to increase, whether we like it or not, right? So by having those knowledge put together in a place, by having like capable young people, right, who are likely to become like future leaders in this field, to have this kind of knowledge at the backup of their mind, I think it's going to be very useful for building up a more just and a greener kind of region, right, that we all share together, right, in the future. So I think, again, calling back to the name of this fellowship, which is, I think, very apt, which is the Just Futures Mekong Fellowship. I think this is exactly what we are trying to build here, right, today and for the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tianjin. Can we turn to Catherine?
สวัสดีค่ะ So firstly, I would like to thank you, our community people come to support Chao Mong. They're very supportive for Chao Mong as she live in the village for a long time, no? Oh, not like you start to stay with the village in mid-February. Yeah, they come to support. It's very nice one, no? And also, I would like to appreciate all the fellows that they produce or interesting issue in different situation that we can learn, especially give opportunity like our village as well, come and listen what going on in this issue that learn about this situation. And for the interconnection, the topic, I think they are all connected. Like, for example, in the community, like Piswa already shared with us, that in the community, they face the situation is not the impact from the climate change, but many issues there. Climate change is just one of them. So community already have some kind of the adaptation by themselves that related all the topic that our fellow share. For example, there are the impact in the community for the climate change. For example, especially in the agriculture community, they face the problem in terms of like, for example, flood or drought issue, no? And some the temperature fluctuation, and some facing the storm that impact to the farm production for the people who live in the village. So they try to create for the adaptation. For example, instead they grow like a monocrop. One, they try to do more integrated to decrease the risk in the areas. And also they find another one, try to do, have more income. They not only focus on the income for farming, but also the other income from like, for example, the community, community tourists that they also try to initiate in their area to get more to generate income and to do more like food processing to their farm production. So those kind of the thing that not only focus by themselves, but also in terms of the community level, for seed itself as well, that they try to connect each other and share the seed to be more sustainable or self-sufficiency in terms of like farm input.
Thank you so much. Can we turn now to Kunravati?
Thank you very much for an opportunity. First of all, I also would like to start behind the scene. This program, I need to point out appreciation of Kun Kao's and team program of Chulalongkorn University, that you create an opportunity or start a bridge or start a process of the people from far away to understand what had been the reality in Thailand. And the reality of Thailand is, it is a reality that had been forgotten by policymakers, reflected by already so many research demonstrate the gap of the policy and the law that somehow in opposite on the needs and concern and the issue and the challenges needed at the ground level. But the fellow have made it possible, making a policy paper point out the information, the reality, the evidence that need to, for public, for policymaker, for politician, for government officer to understand the reality. So I think this is a great program. Please continue. And the second, behind the scene, your team, after you talking with SDF, it is not only let SDF solely working with Shefan at the community, but you also put a lot of support from your team member to really try to fill the gap that SDF might not have capacity to provide support. And this is really a help that is really demonstrate a strong, a serious program that you are having beyond just only, okay, having the fellow come to Thailand and okay, now finish this year, next open the new batch to come. No, it is something that you see, you also value on the program that can also link for the future continuity. And now back to the reality. The issue, I would like to start with Chia Fang because she's working with SDF. I have to really say that we have an opportunity inviting Kun Ping from Human Rights Commission to come here because the project or the issue that you are conducting at the field, it is the real issue of coastal community have been facing. And in the process of your participatory theme development for empowerment for the people to be able to more aware and then collectively seeing as their own issue that they need to continue. No doubt from the not so many months of Shefang work with the community and then with the SDF, they have been able to link in many levels at the community. Now before, just talking, maybe people do not really aware on, yeah, they are having a problem. But then using the theme, make them seeing something abstract and visualize in action. And then when the people see what had been happening, so it now, in the process, I know they work day and night. They are having a very good time on the beach, talking about whatever reflection of their life. But they have been able to strengthen the community to feel that this is the issue. And then you can really see the people who join here. It is they demonstrate their commitment to continue. So I think this is a very successful process that you, after you left, it is not the issue that, okay, continue issue of SDF. It is the people's issue. And then the second thing, it is not only issue in their community. They are now be able to connect with the small scale fishery issue nationwide, connecting with the Human Rights Commission. And this is the issue that with the reality pilot activity that they're going to do in the field, they would be able, they're now in the process of talking with related government organization to revise or improve the law, and which is, I think, this is a structural change. And so I have to congratulate Chia Fang for your honor, your energy, and a lot of frustration. It had turned to become very positive result. And then for the product and the document that you are producing here, it can be a kind of advocacy tools. Demonstrate not only in the area, there would be a pilot demonstrate. They are now already talking, connecting the history. And then it would address another issue that had been forgotten in Thai society in terms of customary right. And this is the issue that link between coastal community and indigenous community. And you are on the top of the mountain. The people that Chia Fang working is on the coast. They share the common concern of customary right. And this is something stated in the Constitution. But if you look at the different law, it does not really reflect and recognize customary right. So they are facing a lot of problems. So the opportunity that we are meeting here and opportunity for them to continue link. We also opportunity. We are opportunists. During lunchtime, we are able already connect with the indigenous community that, okay, not only tourism. Now we are talking about customary right of the housing issue, and then automatically they accept, and then we're going to have representative to continue making link the issue of the people of the coastal community linking with indigenous coastal community. So that is a very positive result link, and I say that is already demonstrated in terms of the cross-cutting issue that we are facing. Another one, when I was sitting there, there was a presentation of tourism, ecotourism of some of the area, Ban Klang Krabi, and also indigenous in the mountainous of Thailand. I'm already in my head. It is the same issue that we are promoting also in the field. So if we are able to develop, that is for the future program, if we are able to develop a kind of program to link the young tourism from China, and then not only come to enjoy, but then, okay, enjoy, but at the same time to understand the reality. And these are the people who can become a potential of policy maker in future. We can really direct leading to sustainable development, the real sustainable development that beyond of economic benefit of some of the rich, but then linked to the ground. And then you can see the program that are working. It is not only earning, it is also conserving the resources that they depend on for their food, for their life, for their community, their culture. And also in terms of they also earn income and look after the resources. So I can so many positive things, but then I would like to end that I really congratulate all the fellows that come to Thailand. And then we are now reflecting something that behind the carpet and make it possible, visible, make the people who are somehow forgotten to become recognized and visible. And then now, and then if we are able to continue the program, it can be really beyond the kind of knowledge development or research kind of thing. It is become of the collective action among your group when you return to China. We can continue a kind of networking for the collective working, support each other to really be part of the making for the change, which we are part of decision making, and reveal the information that you have collected and make it into reality, addressing the need, what need to be something development program of our country. So congratulations. Thank you so much for an opportunity.
Next, let's go to Kunkatipon.
Okay, สวัสดีครับ so excited to talk after พี่ติ๋วรวดี Okay, I think the two things that come up from my mind that I'm listen from the morning until now, because of this seminar, the cover a wide range of the Thailand green transformation. But I think I see them as a deeply interconnected, because when we mention green transformation, it's not just about we adopting new technologies, but it's about the holistic and the systemic approach and change. This means we have to work across multiple sectors and build up from the ground by using the local knowledge, youth leadership, and collaborative network as a key driver. One of the example how this the elements are connected by that we observing and learning with the over fellowship is the seed saving and development within the scope of the TOA projects. So it can be said that seed issue is not just it's not just about the technical issue. It's a way to link to the communities, the genetic resources to protect biodiversity and support food sovereignty. So the systems are connected to the farmer network, and especially to the youth empowerment. If look back to the case study or the case visit, we are seeing young people return home to do something about their farm, and the seed issue is the one thing that they do, and they try to creating the platform or the community to working on seeds or the seed saving to sustain their livelihood. So we see the potentials of the young farmer, and this is the one of the focus of the TOA that we want to support young farmer to be an active change maker in organic agriculture and agroecology. In the secondly, about in terms of the challenge that I can learn from the host organization, that I think that we are facing the same pressure, such as the impact of the climate change, that they have the effect to the other sector. And then the broken food system from the industrialized system or the monopolies. And another thing is the kind of the decline of the biodiversity and the labor shortage in the community. But we also see some real opportunity that we are seeing some youth or the young people return home, and they step up themselves to be a leader and connector within the other in the communities, and is have a growing of the cross-border and cross collaboration in terms of the sharing knowledge. And there is more awareness of the needs of the co-produce knowledge with the communities, not import from the top down. So I think that this is the opportunity that we can do together. So to move forward to green the transformation, we need the inclusive and the participatory approach to work together, like what the collaboration with the CSDS and host organization, that we work together to foster the knowledge and the hybrid between the academics and the communities to a kind of the building trust and to make a change in a sustainable way together. Yes.
Thank you very much. And now, Kunwan Bipa.
It's very challenging for me because everyone already covered everything. But okay. Yeah, but what pops up in my mind, like because I have been listening to the other 5 presenters, is that everything is interconnected, and it leads to the same issue of the quality of life. Like, for example, you need to have food, of course, the seed system. You need to have good infrastructure, like, and you need to be able to live in the world of changing climate and everything, like with the adaptation and mitigation. And of course, one of the things that we have been facing and has been either bad or good is the legal platform that we have, like either going to push or to pull the development in the long term. But if I speak from my experience, from my heart, is that because I've been using the tourism as the main tool for sustainable development for the last 20 years. So these are the issues that we have been facing every single day when we work with the local communities. When we talk about tourism with them, we don't talk only about economic return or economic benefit, but of course we need them to understand their rights, their legal limitation, like how to overcome the obstacle in terms of the policy support or not support, and also like how to adapt yourself to the environmental crisis that we are facing. And I see the bridge, like this program has been the bridge between the technology advancement and the local livelihood, like how we are going to adjust both of the side to be balanced and to equip the local community to be ready for the green transformation. And one of the things that I hear from the 5 presenters is that sometimes the answer is local solution to fix the global crisis. Sometimes we look far from ourselves to find the solution, but sometimes it's already, like very close to our heart or very close to our, like in Thailand, we have so many local wisdom with the indigenous community, with the local people, but sometimes we look beyond and try to use more and more Western technology, which is not a bad thing, but sometimes we need to understand like what are our local contexts as well, or what are the local needs that we have, and what are the local readiness and capacity to adjust themselves to the green transformation. And of course, it's not only about the environment, but the green, as Kun Sirini has been mentioned, that the green transformation shouldn't be only about environment, and it needs to be concerned about the needs and the local limitation and the local empowerment as well, because in the long run, people who live close to the impact of green transformation is all of us. It's the local people, the local community, as well as the business who need to adjust themselves in the long term. So these are the things that I see that this is a good platform for us to cross sector and discuss about what we are facing and what we have been learning. And of course, it opens our perspective and how we are going to collaborate towards the same goal. Thank you.
Okay, so the second question is around the theme of knowledge. I'm just kind of making a list of lots of different words that have come up over the seminar that we've talked about. For example, Taiwan research, evidence-based policy making. We've talked about like knowledge and kind of policy making being top down or bottom up. Even it's been implicitly discussed about self-knowledge or self-awareness. And also, I think when we talked about policy processes, a lot of questions about whose knowledge counts. So the theme in the fellowship program has been around what academics at least call the co-production of knowledge, i.e. like how do different people or different types of stakeholders come together and generate knowledge together by working together, which can be also problematic, depending upon the power relationships within that knowledge co-production. So for the second question that I'd like to ask to the panelists, I wonder if you could reflect a little bit on the role of knowledge co-production in achieving just green transformation, and if there's any lessons that you want to share from our collaboration. Maybe we will go the other way this time, so we'll start with Kunwan Bipa.
Okay, so I really appreciate the words of co-produced knowledge, right? Because in my experience, my personal experience, I have been working with the government for the last 15 years. And I just recently moved to work with the private sector, especially the social enterprise. So I truly believe in co-creation. Like you cannot work alone to fix the big problem that we are facing now, especially the climate change, the green transformation, the technology transformation, anything. Like so different people have different experts, different mindset, different background. So when we come together with different perspective, it creates something new, and it also help us look at the same problem with a new perspective as well. So that's why I think it's very important for this kind of platform, this kind of forum, this kind of program to link people from different background, different interests, and or even like different generation or different nationalities or anything, because for me diversity is beautiful, in terms of like the more different things we have, the more development, the more moving forward that we're going to have. Because if we look at the same thing at the same perspective all the time, of course we are going in nowhere. So that's why I really appreciate like the co-creating knowledge. But the best thing of co-creating knowledge is that how we are going to use that knowledge in implementation as well, like how to make things in the academic world like become useful, become practical for the like business, or for the policy formulation and like policy implementation as well. And especially if we are talking about policy implementation, we need to talk about the monitoring system, how we are going to assess how we use the knowledge and how it give back to the society. Thank you.
Okay, so if we're going backwards, then back to Kun Kittipon.
For me, I believe the co-knowledge, the production approaches support the just green transformation in two ways. The first way through the JOY program itself that combines three components that we learn from each other during 6 months. The first component is a kind of the training and the workshop that you provide the design, the thinking, the knowledge to give the fellowship host organization to learn and to understand the diverse perspective and the local context from one another. And the second component is a kind of the research that you give the structures of the learning process to us to shape the research and methodologies from the case selection to field work and encourage to use the participatory the methods. And the last, the component is a kind of the placement. So I see it as the interaction that they between host organization and the Chinese fellowship, that the interesting that they have the cross cultural learning between each other, create a space for learn for the Chinese fellowship with the community, with the mentor and organization. And the second way that I think the outcome of the research that come from a co-production and knowledge, I think the policy brief in other way can amplify the voice of the communities. So look back in term of the seed saving, we can talk more about the young people, talk about the small holder, the farmer that they're working on the seed, that to be the strengthen them the seed governance in their communities. And another thing that I think the important that's co-production knowledge can support the green goal, like the promote biodiversity, promote the sustainable change within our society. And the most important thing is the foundation to work together between the cross sectoral, between the academics and community, or another sector is a kind of the trust building. So I think the knowledge and the trust building should go together. So this area should be together because it can make us toward the justice and the long-term collaboration. Thank you.
Very much. You reminded me, I also wanted to confirm to Dr. Pirada that all the policy briefs are being translated into Thai immediately and will be published very shortly. Kunravati.
I start with the challenge. I think the content, since I have a little bias, since most of my life working at the community level, so I very much appreciate and then think this is the missing piece of the policy maker in Thailand. And then my challenge to your program is how we're going to disseminate this knowledge to become from the people around this room, to make it as the knowledge of the public, of the big audience. And then not only for them, this is the knowledge, but then make it as the value and the belief and something that they need to continue discover or continue searching the reality. So people at different level will make use of the knowledge to perform different role and responsibility. I think that is the challenge, because if we are, I think all the 4 or 5 research, it is very rich. But then it will not be able to make a change if we only appreciate this way and stop not using it, or connect to others who also have the common belief and common appreciation of this kind of knowledge. But more important thing is to bring this knowledge to our personal change, collective people change at community level, network change, and then link to the institutional change. So I think that is the challenge that, of course, I understand that with the program of university, what I'm sharing is something really big, and it needs a collective effort. But then for SDF, they have to make it into Thai, right? Yeah, and then Chefang need to also talk with SDF to really develop a kind of measure, how to make use for them to be able to continue use of the information that you put a lot of energy in it together with villager to their network. I think that is something that I think need to be done. And then for the SDF, they also have to think that, of course, only one case study might not make people believe. So how you can continue really, make a lot of evidence to back up, to make this reality to become something the people value and collectively make use of this for the real change. So I think that is the challenge. We already have done very good work, but then the question that you are asking is something that are challenging issues. How are we going to make use of available already existing knowledge to make it, something value in public. So I think that is something we need to do it together, and also for university.
More work to do. As a teacher, I often think about knowledge a lot. I think mostly valued knowledge is living knowledge. On paper alone is never enough. Knowledge that becomes internalized inside of ourselves is the knowledge that really has impact. So I think the knowledge co-production, working with the fellows, working with SDF, is the process of internalization. But still, as you say, Kunrabli, more to do. Thank you. Kun Kasarin.
So for me, co-produced knowledge interesting. Like during the research process, I also together with Chao Mong and also the community learn all the process. Like not only that we come up the data or the finding interesting only in the community, but also we can workshop that we learned from university for an academic one, and also during the interview with the organization that work with all related issue in terms of the climate change or indigenous people who work in the area, that we can understand more about the issue. Sometimes I can commit by themselves. Sometimes I misunderstand farming. What is the exactly issue there, and how the people who live in that place dealing or facing the issue, and what is the solution that coming up to solve that problem? Because sometimes the policy or the thing that come from the outside not related to the issue that happened. So many study work in this issue, but it's very few of them that can be give the benefit or directly to support the community to fight or solving the reality in the ground. So this one is quite benefit. For my organization, we also work with many farmer group and network all the across of the Thailand and the northern part as well. But we still lack of some information in terms of the people who live in the highland area. So this one is good opportunity that we can learn their issue there and how they practice already, and how our organization can support them or to make the connection in terms of like a knowledge or anything that we can support the people there. For example, now I think they are fighting with, how can I say fighting? On the process that they worked on the issue in terms like a burning system there, but still going on the issue. And also in terms of like register become of the community forest, is still ongoing the process. Is still work a lot on the data to back up like how the community can manage by themselves in terms use of their knowledge, and also related to the natural resources management by themselves, but still lack of the acceptable from the government. They try to understand, but no, actually in the area, it's something like that. Co-produced knowledge is one thing, is the key that we can learn both together, not only my organization and also the people in the village and organization to work in related in this issue, to become more and more understanding in the same way that give the benefit to the village. Because many research is kind of not much related to issue, and very few of the people or the people who live in the village use or access the benefits on the fighting to solve the issue in the area. So this one is interesting that we can produce this kind of this.
Thank you so much. We'll go to TNG online for a brief intervention.
Thank you. So I think when we talk about co-production of knowledge, it's really, I think, the key feature and bedrock, right, of this fellowship program. And I think after observing it for the past 6 months, I think I also got a better understanding of the potential, right, of co-production of knowledge. particularly in the form of, I think, two particular forms. One is immersive knowledge generation, right? So I think the program is kind of unique in its setup in that it sort of put our fellows in pretty immersive situations. We're not only talking about fellows like Xiaomeng and Xiaofang who literally spend months, right, in the community that they work with, but also I think groups like TOA, a partner organization like TOA, also I think have offered a very immersive experience for fellows who are working with them. So I think the quality, you can see that the quality of knowledge generated through this kind of immersive process is very different, especially if we are talking about a contrast, which is an extractive way of generating knowledge, right? So you parachute people in, you extract the knowledge and you leave. And this kind of model is also still quite widespread, but I think an immersive way of generating knowledge, I think, overcomes, I think, some of the downsides of that process. And I think also participatory way of generating knowledge, right? Experimented by, I think, particularly Xiaofang in this case, adds, I think, another layer of like inclusiveness, right, to the knowledge generation process. And I think this is very important if we're talking about just transition, right? Because inclusiveness, I think, is an intrinsic value, right, in in just transition. And I think we should make. I think the fellowship made an example of trying to be more inclusive, especially in the knowledge generation process. And I think this is a feature that should be kept and developed, right, for further future iterations of the fellowship program. And then I think the challenge and next step, I would like to echo actually Kun Rawadi, right, by saying that having those knowledge on paper at this moment, right, is still not enough, right, because I think in today's session, I remember Kun Sarini talked about Thailand's, for example, NDC, right, this like high-level climate target under Paris Agreement. And if you think about that, and then the reality that, for example, the Korean village that Xiaomeng was in, there's just a huge gap, right, between the kind of expertise that is fed into the former, right, the NDC process, the high-level process, and the knowledge that is generated on the ground, right? And I think how to bridge those two kinds of knowledges and make them actually talk to each other, right, is, I think, a very important mission probably also for the fellowship and like similar programs. And I think an evidence-based like policy brief, right, is already one step forward toward that because you already package the knowledge, right, generated through the immersive process and make it into a kind of language and discourse, right, that can be digested, right, by higher up policymakers, decision makers. But I think I agree with Carl saying that actually probably a more important venue is the fellows themselves, right, who have internalized that kind of knowledge, and how to make them, right, as a community, right, more relevant in this kind of higher level conversations, and act as the kind of bridge, the human bridge, right, between those like very separated worlds of policymaking and local reality. I think it's I think something that the fellowship should also think about going forward. Yeah, thank you.
Great. Thank you, Tianxi. And back to Kansarani.
I think you already said what I wanted to say, just like 5 times better. So I'm put in a tough situation now. I just like to add maybe that I really had in my mind was similar points about the importance of inclusiveness, about like local people on the ground being actually they are owners of the knowledge, right? And I think that this process of empowerment is it's very powerful because when people may not know that they may not think they know anything, and I think Thailand needs to move be beyond the kind of the top down technocratic way of thinking, especially with very I think very big issue like climate change, which is very multifaceted, and I think that we cannot address the real impacts of climate change on the ground if we don't change the knowledge production from top down to bottoms up. So I think that's kind of where I would be coming from. And so I think this program, the way it's structured as co-creation from the beginning is already one step in the right direction. And so I think that at CF&T, for example, we came a bit late to the party because we're only about 1 year old. But next year, we are thinking of starting this whole new area of adaptation finance research. And we would really like to work with all of you, I mean, both the fellows and the host organizations, into basically translating what I said about this bottoms up, evidence-based analysis and connecting it with adaptation finance facilities to make sure that the people who really need this financing the most will get it. Because I have a lot of concerns about Thailand's NDC and adaptation plan. And Climate Change Act, but that's another story that will take like another fellowship program. But yeah, so just want to say we're very happy and very honored to be part of this fellowship. We also learned a lot from our fellow and from other programs, from other papers and host organizations, and we look forward to exploring this kind of co-creation and bottoms-up research. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I think probably I'd also add to that list loss and damage funding. I'm really interested in the disconnect between loss and damage funding being claimed globally and what actually happens on the ground. We're almost at the end of the seminar, so for a final quick round, maybe I could ask each of the panelists to share one thought on either a key takeaway or a recommendation for further action as a kind of concluding comment. So maybe we start with Kunsarini.
Well, I already, since I already said that we would like to work with all of you, and so we'll try to. And so it would be really a great help for us if this program stays and expand next year. And also, I think that so next year, one, I don't know, positive maybe is that the Clean Air Act is coming out, hopefully. The Climate Change Act is coming out, hopefully, also next year. I'll try to be optimistic for now, right, next year. And that law has a lot of, I think, criteria and policy tools that could be useful for the work that we're talking about, the policy directives, including climate fund, for example. So I think the kinds of evidence-based research that a lot of us are doing, I think we should think about really connecting to policy, because the policy people also need to come down, right, from their ivory tower. So I think we should find ways to meet in the middle sometime next year. So I would toss it out as an opportunity, and I look forward to working with everyone. And CF&T, it's at CF&T, we're also going to start not just adaptation research, but also Chinese-related research into climate finance. So hopefully there'll be more topics and discussions. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Tianxi.
I think I also have already said about it. So I think for me, the takeaway and next step is how to cultivate, right? Continue to cultivate this community of fellows, right? Young fellows that I think we're also going to expand, right, in future iterations, and how to make them the vehicles for the kind of dialogue and the bridge, right, between the different knowledge communities, right, and help to elevate the voices of the local communities and local knowledge, right, to a higher level in the global policy making.
Right. Thank you, Tianxi. Catherine.
I also mentioned like earlier, like during this process, I mean during this program, what I can take away from this or of your presentation. So I learned through the situation, it is tissue that going on in the area that interesting, that I think I have planned to distribute this kind of the knowledge to our network. Like not only the farming side, or I mean not only the agriculture, but also the other issue related in the area. I think this kind of the information is useful that I will how to say, share with like my colleague as well, and like a network. For the next, I mean, maybe future program, I interest, like maybe they will create a learning space that is topic is very interesting. Maybe if in each area research have this kind of the meeting or some kind of workshop there. Maybe invite other topic to listen and observe the situation in reality in this area. It must be more understanding and have can like share the situation in each other. It must be useful ค่ะ
Thank you so much. Conrabity.
Number of area that I would have in mind, not throw to your, it is also my responsibility to continue. But first of all, may I also make use of this opportunity, relate on the issue of climate change and climate finance. There are two sides, very positive and very negative. And then we can use this program to find out, for example, my organization really clear advocate for the present Thai government policy of promoting climate change in the mangrove forest, in which very much destroying this climate change, but destroying the food security, socio-economic of the coastal community. And also I understand that with the indigenous group and also the farmer. So I would really like to, you say you are having interest of that kinds of continue of fact-finding or knowledge development. Although without the fellow, we would be willing to make the participatory action research to reveal the reality of the false solution of selling forest. It is very much greenwash. And it continue a kind of program of the government. And if we continue doing that, not stop that, if we destroy biodiversity, destroy the right of the people, and this is something that if I talk, they say, Revati, she's always negative to the government program. So the knowledge development is very important. And then if we can have a kind of collaboration, find out the reality, and also create a space for policymakers to understand the reality, what is happening. So this can really lead to the policy change, policy direction. And we can use the benefit of climate finance for the positive side, not become right now is really promoting of the long development program benefit only the private sector and very economic driven development, and support more of the big investor to continue creating more climate issues. So I think this is something that we need to find out more reality. So that kind of cooperation, I would really appreciate if we are able to continue. The second thing, in terms of the tourism and conservation and the people connect with the ecotourism, those kind of things, that is something that very much if I think I cannot do it myself, but then I think that there is really an opportunity for making a kind of people link of the future generation to make it as part of business, but at the same time, it is the business that benefit for the people on the ground, and with a kind of business process from China to Thailand to community connect with coastal community, indigenous group, agricultural, rural area. I think this is something that we can really make use of already existing potential to make into a kind of benefit to the people that we are working with them. And the third thing is related to technology and climate change, related to warning system. I am very appreciate and aware of very positive technology that China have. And then I think if you are find out the fellow who have that kind of knowledge to work with us, to really a kind of innovative developing a warning system, appropriate or information system appropriate for community bonding system. And then from the process that we are working on the ground with the local government institution, really, I think that can become, because right now, very general warning system. Okay, if you have, that's what this, the fact. I am in the house, I cannot really know what kinds of fact, what is the color. But so we need really a kinds of appropriate technology thing that you can think of not only the research, but then a sharing a kinds of technology aspect research and then put into example of certain area, because I think this is something really needed. So at the end, I hope that the people who are fellow at this room, if you are very serious of your learning, it can become alumni of this faculty to continue kinds of whatever profession or department or kinds of role you are playing in future. If this is something of the common value that we learn, we can really make a change together, no? From that point. My last thing. This is something, my dream. It is, I cannot expect to become your responsibility. But I think the information they are producing here is really relevant to go for COP, UNFCCC, to really go for you biodiversity forum, to really go for FAO, sustainable development, fishery development, and also advocate for women. I think something very weak in this research, you have not pay attention enough on the inequality and just between different sex. And so if in the higher program, whatever program, you have to really value of gender mainstreaming in the kind of research. You can really see more gap, more this discrimination, what have been whitening the gap between not only for the rich and the poor, but different sex in the society. And that one would help bringing out the issue for the constructive sustainable development change. So I would think that that is, I am getting younger, I mean the day to survive. So I would really trust in the new generation that this kind of collaboration would need to be continued. Thank you.
So much. Kun Kitwan.
And for me, the three key takeaway that are important for me is the first, I think I believe in the powers of the collaborative in imagination and in inclusion, how to bring the different multi-stakeholder come to join together, from the researcher to youth to community, a leader come to brought the idea to talk together to find a better solution. So I think it is the beautiful wording. It's very hard to do. I don't want to romanticize. It's very hard, but I think we have to do, because it is very important to move together. We cannot stand alone to solve the problem in the the crisis nowadays. And the second thing, I think I can see the importance of the youth engagement and the local actor in the community, not just a beneficiary group, but they should be the co-creator of the change maker in green transformation or the systemic transformation. So I believe that this program can bring back the knowledge and the insight to community, fostering the knowledge, capacity and action to share and depend on work with the communities to help them to know which are the critical for the biodiversity, food sovereignty, and resilience for them to make a change together. Yes.
Great. Thank you so much. And last but not least, Kongwan Ripat.
Yeah. The key takeaway that I am here is I think everyone can be the positive change maker. Like in any roles that you are, playing now. And for me, like the impact of this kind of forum would be more scale, like more impactful, is that I hear a lot of people talking about policy change, and also like, because sometimes we feel that to make a systemic change, it has to change the policy, or we have to have better policy. I think one sector that's missing in this room is the public sector. And there is a lot of information, a lot of local knowledge that it would be good for them to hear like firsthand, not from the paper, but to hear from like Asma, from, the community like Ban Yai Mom, And I think this kind of program should continue. And also, like, it could be one of the mechanism to incubate the young government officer. I speak from my heart because I used to work for the government with a very strong passion to do the systemic change. But I tried for 15 years. I changed one policy. It takes such a long time. But I see a lot of young people in the government system that have the same mindset with me, but doesn't get opportunity to do the field work, or to do the, like hands-on research like this, at least to get this kind of, program for them to incubate themselves, to get the chance to understand what are the reality, like how they can be the positive change maker, like systemic change maker. And as well as it could be the incubation program for the young social enterprise as well, because the business can be a quicker change maker if they want to really do it, like responsible business. And social enterprise, recently we have the law for that, we have the act for that, but it's not scaling up yet. So this kind of, like collaboration between local community, academic, like young people, and international people would be a great platform for all of us to grow together.
Thank you so much. Those are really good suggestions. We're at the end of the panel. I know that we're a little bit over time. I'm sorry about that. I wanted to just very briefly at least open the floor if anybody has a burning final comment before we have a final concluding remark from Professor Surachai. Okay, last two comments, and then we'll hand over to Professor Surachai. Yes. Maybe.
Yeah, I'm Tianle Chang from Food Think, an NGO based in Beijing. I really enjoyed the conversation today, and I wonder how these 5 fellows' experience in Thailand can benefit their civil society in China.
Okay, this is a very good question. Thank you so much. Kinkon?
Just a few words. When saying green transformation, and I am thinking of Dr. Somnuk said earlier that we need a green economy actually, and to change towards that, I think we need a changing in mindset actually, and I think this process could be part of this changing mindset. And one main key important issue is that we build a relationship among citizens and among young people, among young fellows, young academics, and young farmers, young activists. I think this future, which we are heading to disaster, it's laid upon this generation, and we need to help support them. And I think changing mindset and thinking of the adaptation from the community experience adaptation. I think everyone needs to be adaptive. We need to adapt ourselves, livelihood, adapt our way of living, not just work or knowledge, actually.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. Yes, please.
First, I would like to thank you for our researcher and also sponsor to support for this program. I think that I have two opinions. First, after I listened of us, I found that all of us, including me also, we are poor. When we are talking on poor, that not only poor in economy, but we are poor in knowledge, poor in information and related, especially for the knowledge from the marginal people. So I think that for this research, second, related to the second opinion, that now this knowledge, we got like a output. Just now we try to talk about the outcome and impact. So for the outcome that and impact, that very important. I agree that for many people, they are need and also have some people to have to do some activity related to this. So now when we're talking on green is mean we need more our society to be like for the next era, we have to go to the eco-centric. Because for our experience, especially I think that P. Levady and also many, we are when we look at in our country, from the national socio-economic plan, for the number 1 to number 7 of Thai plan, that they are focused in like a economic growth. But after that, we are together try to prefer. We have to move from economic growth to our human development or human development oriented. That is our Thai national socio-economic plan from to nowadays. But I think that if we want to see more impact, how may we have to work more with our especially for the who how can we change like a policy or plan any start from the local, like Tambon administration organization to the national level, and also not only our national level. How can our international or every country, we have to move from economic growth to the eco-centric development or oriented. Yeah, that's my opinion.
Thank you so much. I think we'll take these final comments as comments because I know that we're almost out of time now. So please join me to thank the 6 panelists for sharing their insights. Thank you. To conclude the public seminar today, Professor Surachai Wangyao, an emeritus professor at Chulalongkorn University, has kindly agreed to offer some closing remarks. So please join me to welcome Ajahn Surachai.
I'm very honored to be with all of you at this moment. If you allow an old man like myself some liberty, I would like to invite a colleague of mine who came from China, but a smaller part of China, Taiwan. But this person has been in the world of intercultural studies for several decades, and I would like to just ask him to say 1 or 2 minutes before I say some last remarks. Please, Professor Chen Kwon Sing the chief editor of in this journal called Inter-Asia Cultural Studies, which has been in circulation for the last 25 years or so. After and just finished a global conference from Walalak University where about 600 people joined. So some words, please.
I'm here simply because of Sulichai. I've been friends with him, I calculated, at least 35 years. So my relation with Chula is about that long, 20 some years. So I kind of know Thai, but of course I know more intimately about China. You know, both my parents are from China, and several key points I want to make. There's actually one thing, I don't know because I wasn't here, called planetary approach to whatever this EV. In other words, it's not only a China-Thailand issue. It's the entire planet, not only the world. Our phenomenon called breakfast of the Earth. So I think the issue need to be elevated on that level to be discussed. And I was also involved in organizing in that era, 2015, it's not called a BRI, it's called a One Belt, One Road, right? OBOR. And we were involved in organizing the kind of intellectual summit in Guangzhou with what do you call Guangzhou Academy of Social Sciences, and the Open Times was with it, organizing it. So in a way, I'm coming here to learn because I don't know so much about the EV issue, but because of editing the journal for the past some 25 years, you know, I kind of know what's going on. And the only last point I want to make is very simple. This year is the Bandung 70s. I don't need to explain what is Bandung, right? Bandung Conference 1955. So it's a larger issue at stake. And Thailand is actually at the center of Southeast Asia. And in relation to with Indonesia and so on, and many, you know, Chinese people now living in not only Bangkok, but elsewhere, right? So this is a point that I say, this is really a strange year, but also they say this is 80 years of the anniversary for the end of Second World War, and so on. So I hope this conference can contribute something larger, not only to Thailand and China. That's it. Sorry, Suichai.
So thank you. There are some words that Kun Singh, Chen Kun Singh mentioned about planetary approach. Beyond China, beyond Thailand, we are faced with same planet, the place where we are living. Or in the language of Bandung, he used the word earth. Earth. That is the name of the novel written by Pramodia Anantatu from Indonesia. So just with that, may I say I'm grateful for this moment to be with all of you. I feel very bad that I could not join you from the beginning. But whatever time we are left with us, we have to make sense together. And for me, Ajahn Kar kindly asked me, I imagine we have some relationship, personal relationship through several things, including international development studies at Chulalongkorn University. I say this in the light of knowledge issue. When we talk about knowledge, we talk about learning, but when knowledge becomes very static, you cannot cope with dynamic change. And I think this process of knowledge, co-production of knowledge is one realization of that awareness. But yet, I think everyone knows that many of you, five of you who are in communities, had to struggle about language, have to struggle a lot about several things. And 6 months are not enough in some way, but enough for us to be able to feel and to make sense that the issue we are facing need a new approach, including the approach that include ourselves as a part of the learning or the co-producing knowledge. So in that sense, knowledge and learning cannot be separated at all. But the world today, we separate the two things. Now, so I just, the first word that I would like to congratulate all of you to help us to feel that. So I just, the first we can, word that I would like to congratulate all of you. Yes. To help us to feel that. Thank you, AI. Yeah. Okay, but you see yeah, no, I'm not repeated. Okay. I am afraid of repeating myself. Because to be able to be in a community or communities for some months that you and supported by certain fellowship like this need a lot of efforts, including your side. You have to spend time. But I don't have to go back to this process, but I would like to congratulate you and congratulate the whole fellowship and friends who have made this opportunity a common space of learning for all of us. And we see the potential. Many friends already said that it has a lot of potential to expand, to enhance learning in other sectors, in policy making. So I think this is the first word of congratulations. And my second word is that the context we are living is even more challenging. We were discussing here in the context of Mekong and just transition in Thailand and the region. But everyone may know that Mekong face a new challenge, including Mekok, arsenic pollution. Some of you may not be following the case, but we are faced with very complex issue of rare earth mining in the lands of contested sovereignties, like in Myanmar. And companies are not under any kind of governance. So how to deal with this pollution, which is really making the river Mekong a tributary of Mekong. And it is, no one can stop this issue now. So my point is that the context need to make all of us feel that how can we accelerate our learning and knowledge co-production in the light of this worsening situation of transboundary challenges. And when I mention Mekong, I mean arsenic pollution from the rare earth. And rare earth is not something very strange, but it is a part of the global industries, global extractive industries. And I use this to highlight the context where geopolitical conflicts are much more complicated today than ever. So in the light of this, the context unpredictable like the war happened in the eastern border of Thailand. I would like to highlight the disruptive forces that make our learning and knowledge production under very strong challenges, even disrupted. The trust building. Now you are, okay, Chinese colleagues are in Thailand, yes, but if it happens to be a regional fellowship, if you have Vietnam, Thailand, and something could happen, just like there in some conference, the promise participants from Cambodia stop coming to Thailand, for example. It already happened. So the geopolitical forces are in some way quite challenging, and even more challenging if the human side of capacity to understand cannot limit it. War cannot end by itself, except the human people, the human capacity who are engaged can stop themselves. So here, I think I just would like to highlight the challenges of the context where geopolitical forces have become very unpredictable sometimes, like this. But also, there are collaborative efforts under SDG, like China, whatever happened, China tried to conclude Kunming-Montreal biodiversity framework. You could not do it in China. You work with Canada, and you came up with a new framework globally. I'm not saying this is a national issue. It is a really planetary challenge. So geopolitical challenges cannot be overcome by national or international efforts alone. It needs to come from a more concerted effort of planetary awareness. So I just would like to highlight this context of geopolitical challenges, but we also have witnessed the positive efforts of how to deal with biodiversity collapse. I think Khun Rewadi, she was joking in many ways, but despite the climate recognition, the climate challenges, but the way we approach climate make many environment or policy making more favorable to private big business, not caring the communities who are already easily forgotten. So my point here is that the context demands that we put our efforts today in the light of how we can accelerate the positive collaboration through this kind of process of learning in a more meaningful learning level. Like I would like to bring the word policy learning. Policy must be more adaptive. So that's why policy must learn and relearn from new generations of research. And research of the kind that we talk today is not the extractive research, the conventional one, but participatory, but inclusive, but it must be respecting local knowledge of people who are affected by the changes at hand, and though they are part of how to create our common future together. So my third point relates to how can we see this kind of, I was happy to hear one friend said, you are from Beijing. You want to see how this kind of process can be a part of border audience elsewhere, maybe. So I am much interested in the whole region of in Thailand, even in this region in the Southeast Asia as well. Being grateful to these efforts, how can we make this kind of process of learning and also exchange a cross-border efforts. And for this, we are not poor. Ajahn Chomchuan said we are poor, but we do have infrastructure in the regional level, but are not tapped. Whatever it is, ASEAN, whatever it is, Chula claims to be a regional university of learning and AI, but we need to make those goals consistent with this kind of urgency. When I use this word urgency, we have to, I think it's very clear in the room, including the panel list before that we feel the urgency of acceleration of learning and enhance of our exchange. But how? And in that sense, I would like to look forward as, may I humbly say that as an old person, sometimes you are given some tasks that you don't know what to do. I am a National Commission of Commission for UNESCO of Thailand. Under that, there is something called UNESCO Management of Social Transformations Program. Maybe in that process, as a Asia Pacific intergovernmental responsibility person, maybe I can be a bridge, an old man, but I can be a bridge for the younger friends for furthering our exchange. The fellowship can be replay and also reproduced in different kinds, and can also be a point of engagement with other ways of researching across the borders. In our whole regions, there are several efforts of similar kind. All of you, maybe many of you in this room, are familiar with programs. I am saying this in the light of Kun Supa that I know, in the light of Ajahn Chomchuan that I know, several, because there are cross-border public intellectual research projects going on, like Ashoka. Several of this kind are going on. So how can we see this as a partnership of programs of new innovative learning, policy learning for the future? This is there could be a possibility, and for such purpose, I'm much willing to be a part of the efforts. As for the next step, I am very much interested to see how you see Bangkok. Next month, you will have Bangkok Climate Week. Some of you are much involved. And Thailand also in some way is a part of the problem, not a part of the solution yet. And we are much willing to open up spaces to engage with, I think Kun Sarini is one among the very innovative person in Thailand who try to engage with the financial sector, with the industry sector to relearn and to revitalize ourselves, to renew ourselves from within, to be able to confront this urgency task of our time. So my final word would relate to, I am a bit like Kun Rewadi. She has devoted a lot of energy with the small fishermen in Asia Pacific. I would like really to bring as my final word. At the moment, the next generation, the present generation are requested to face a lot of challenges, while we have not developed enough intergenerational dialogue. We have not, my generation have failed to develop intergenerational process enough to cope with these communicative possibilities. I know in certain national context it's not easy, but we can create a regional community building. We can create a planetary platform of concerns of this kind. With this, I really look forward, because in Thailand, we talk a lot about sufficiency economy, but we talk a lot among ourselves, talk a lot among the older generation. Never really put this in the context of Thailand's urgent adaptation to its role of just transition. And Thailand need really to work hard enough with its own energy companies, with its own bank system. And for that kind of engagement, I think the civil society in Thailand alone are not enough. University as it is, too much drunk in its ranking business. So this kind of engagement is very symbolic already, that we need multi-stakeholder platform to change universities. And this university, Chula, can also benefit a lot when it will celebrate 110 years in 1 or 2 years to come. So otherwise, Chula will be a part of the problem more than a part of the solution. So I just say thank you with all your time and your participation in this room. But I do look forward to see how intergenerational efforts could be engaged across sectors and more across countries. And I think for that purpose, the planetary discussion must be the only way that we can share. We have not done enough in our older generation, but we should do better if we can have better dialogue. I am sad to say that in Thailand, we put young people in prisons. We still don't solve the problem good enough. So with this concern, we are not better in Thailand. We would like really to have a better environment with the regional responsibility and planetary possibility that open for us with your 6 people fellowship or 5 or 6 people fellowship. With this opening, we will look forward for your help, opening more doors, more engagement into the future. And thank you, everyone.
Okay, thank you so much, Ajahn. We'll conclude now the panels. I'd like to thank the 5 host organizations that have been so active in the fellowship program, and all the panelists that have joined today, the CSDS team, the community members from across Thailand that have joined us to have this discussion today, and of course, the most important, I think, the fellows themselves. So thank you so much to Mai, to Xiaofang, to Ye, to Yuting, and to Xiaomong for really making the fellowship a very kind of enlivened and engaged fellowship. Without their effort, we couldn't have such an engaged discussion today. So thank you again, and hopefully this is the beginning of a longer pathway together.